Shabbat Shalom. So, what do Harry Potter, Moses, Gandalf, and Tinkerbell all have in common? Other than the IP is probably owned by Disney at this point. They all use magic wands. That's right. Nice. Oh, quick. The motif of a magic wand, right? A staff, something that you use to reap miracles and magic, it's ancient. It is ancient as humanity. There are cave paintings of people holding wands to represent their power. The ancient pharaohs were entombed with a magic wand for use in the next world. The staff or the wand is an emblem of power, of control, and magic, so that it's fitting that Moshe should wield one. The staff of Moses becomes a symbol unto itself. The rabbis in the Midrash tell us that the staff was passed down from generation to generation and stored in the first temple until its destruction when the staff was lost. In Turkey, they claim that in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul, the staff is there and it's on display, the real one. There is a large rabbit hole to fall down if one wants to explore theories about the location of Moshe's staff. It seems that people are really obsessed with this, which on the one hand, I understand. It's so enticing to think that out there is this magic implement with which one could rain down hail or turn rivers to blood or do whatever one needs in the service of our cause. And the staff itself is shown by the rabbis to be one of the holy, miraculous things according to the Mishnah. It's one of the 10 things that were created ben hashmashot right before God stopped creating. God creates the mouth of earth that swallowed Korach, the well that followed the Israelites, the donkey who spoke, the manna from heaven, and Moses' staff. Now, this would seem to say that this staff is unique among all things. God created it. God created this miraculous thing for Moshe to use. And while it's an enticing midrash to think about, I think there's something limiting about it. Because if this staff is created by God, one of the 10 miracles that God built into the fabric of creation so that it could happen, then it means it's never happening again. This staff and no others is all that we get. And it also seems somewhat problematic because we tend to think that we don't want to imbue earthly things with this kind of divine power. It's a little bit on the idolatrous side for the tastes of some rabbis. So later rabbis actually flip this reading on its head. And Chizkuni says, no, you've got it all wrong. The whole point of Moshe using the staff to work the miracles in Egypt is that it is precisely one of the most mundane objects available. It's as if God said, take a pencil. No one uses pencils anymore. I don't know. Take a first generation iPhone, whatever it is, right? Take some totally random object, and you are going to wreak miracles with a paperclip to show my power. Because I, God, can free you from Egypt with whatever you have lying around. Which is a slightly different way of looking at the miracle. And I understand the people who want to trace the staff down through the generations, who want to think that it's hiding in Istanbul somewhere, who want to think that it's out there, because there are a lot of things in the world today which I would wave a wand and change if I could. And I imagine most of us in our lives, in the world around us, the allure of the magical wand is strong. The idea that you don't have to work that hard, that you don't have to really change the way that we do things. We don't have to organize with other people. The use of a magic wand is supremely an individual act. And I alone get to just bibbidi bobbidi boo, and now everything is better. Shabbat shalom. But Chizkuni and the rabbis remind us that that's not how things work. Unless God wants to show up again and hand us a new staff, it's not how it's going to happen. And I actually think that God intended that as well. Because what's one of the other things created in that Bein Hashmashot time, in our Mishnaic list of the miracles that are made? One of the things that's the last thing that God makes right before God stops on the sixth day? Humanity. Us. We are a miraculous invention of God. Something that God created right at the end and then set forth to go and make the world a better place. And God hints at this even in the beginning of when Moses shows up and says, I can't help, I can't do anything, I can't. What happens if Pharaoh says no? God says, Ma ze biadecha. That's how the staff gets chosen. God says, what's in your hand? And Moses is like, this thing here. And God says, okay, that is what you are going to do in order to wreak those miracles and to lead the people out of Egypt. And the Pardes Yosef, one of our later commentaries, says that in that moment when God says, Ma ze biadecha, God isn't saying, oh, I've selected the staff, this miraculous staff that's always been there. God is saying, Moshe, what do you have to offer? How are you going to lead? And so I would say to all of us, when we look out in the world and we think about the things that we want to change, the question isn't what miracles do we have or how could we wave a wand. The question is, Ma ze biadecha. What is in your hand? And we just started this week a few different strategic plans for the shul. Jody, I'm looking at you. Thank you for leading this for us. And we talk about in this, what's the first step in a strategic plan? You have to look at, the state of the place that you are already at, right? What do you have? What are your assets? There was a competing in the meeting, there are two different alliterative statements, right? It's either, what is your work? Here's what you have to offer: work, wealth, and wisdom, or time, treasure, and talent. I think it depends on if you went to, Wharton or a different school, you use those. But whatever it is, it's the same idea, right? What do we have to offer? We have our ability to work or to offer our time to something. We have our wisdoms and talents, the things that uniquely we can do that others cannot, or that we can do better than the average bear. And we have our wealth and our treasure, the things that we can offer of our hard-earned things that we have that we can use to support causes that we would see succeed. And so when we look out, whether it's within this institution, within this city, this nation, this people of the Jews, Ma ze biadecha, what do you have to offer by means of time, by means of treasure, by means of talent? Because the world is in need of all three. And we all have something that we can use, not like a magic wand, but actually after. What Moses does after the wand and the miracles, etc., Moses leads the people. Moses works with the people. Moses organizes the people. And that bit of leadership is the thing that lasts well after the staff has been lost or destroyed or it's in Istanbul, wherever it is. What we recall are the people who are here together working towards something. So as we're all called to join in that, as we all start the process here in the shul, as we all look out in the world and see what we need, Ma ze biadecha, what is in your hand, perhaps as mundane as it may seem, that can in fact achieve miracles. Shabbat shalom.